Good morning, everyone. Welcome. Good afternoon. Good morning. We go forwards then. The 21st day of our work with the spiritual virtues. We start by taking the pulse of our heart with this attitude of reverence as we enter the most sacred part of our being, of connecting to our soul, to our purpose, our potential. And when we take our pulse, the first thing is that we put our attention on our physical pulse, feeling the pulse, the pulsation, the beat, feeling its rhythm, its frequency. Let's try to go deeper in our capacity to perceive the physical part of ourselves. Many times we live completely unanchored from our physical body. And it happens that our physical body is the true temple of our soul. Without a physical body, there cannot be any evolution. So please pay special attention on your the physical part of your pulse. Try to go with your attention, putting your attention on each beat. Go deeper in your attention, feeling how each beat is like a big bang, a creator of universes, a generator of infinite energy that covers all your field, all your being. Each beat reminds you that you are alive. It reminds you that there's a purpose. It reminds you the plan of your soul. It reminds you that you are here and now. Be completely present. For an instant, you can even see that when you go within that beat, time stops. You go into eternity. You go into infinity. Surrounded by an immense electric and magnetic energy. This space you can truly recognize because you remember it. It is your place of origin. In each beat, the information that originally came with you is present. Connect with your origin through the pulse of your heart. And from there, raise your frequency just for the pleasure of remembering that origin, the joy of that origin. And when that connection to the origin connect to the pulse of the earth and the pulse of the universe, feeling its potency, feeling unity between the beat of your heart, the beat of the pulse of the earth, and the beat of the pulse of the universe. That holy triad. When you are connected to the heart, you are connected to presence, to coherence, cohesion. Let this perception, the sacred perception from the heart expand, connecting to all hearts on the planet. Feel for some instance that you connect with the hearts of the cetaceans that swim in the ocean, with the birds that fly, with all the hearts of the animal kingdom that roam the earth. Feel that each beat is a celebration of life. Trees also have their own beat. Connect with the heart of trees. Become present for each heart. And to be able to be present for every heart, you have to be present for yourself. If any of you still feels divided, still feels parts of yourself that are in 2024 or in previous years, please come here. We are now in the 2025. Have you realized it? So please, completely, all of them, just be here. Allow all the parts of yourself to cross lightly today so you can help to do this process. We will connect with the spiritual virtue of temperance, with its frequency, its vibration. Temperance is a spiritual virtue that invites us to find equilibrium, moderation in all the planes of our existence. We find ourselves in a system that tends to push us towards extremes. Temperance reminds us the importance of being in the center. And the center is the heart. Go back to your center. Go back to the temperance of the heart. Observe through the pulse of your heart all the moments where you have gone to extremes. And with a soft intention, come back to your center. Being in our center allows us to be in deep consciousness, to live in harmony with ourselves and with our surroundings. Temperance does not mean that you have to renounce to pleasure or enjoyment, but learn to manage them with wisdom. Temperance allows us to regulate our desires and actions so that they are aligned with the purpose, our own purpose, and our well-being. Avoiding excesses that can bring our body and our spirit out of balance. Temperance is a state of self-control that comes from our inner wisdom. It is a state, a conscious state of observer, of a consciousness that observes when something has gone beyond the limit and it has gone into extreme, when there's a lack of presence. So temperance does not allow that any part of you is left behind or is deviated. Temperance allows us to recognize when we are a victim of addiction, a habit so we can stop it, to avoid it controlling us. Now, with our pulse taken, feel how do you recognize, how do you react towards your impulses, your strong desires? Do you let yourself be driven by them? Or do you have that inner capacity to self control? Do you let yourself be driven? Or do you reflect before you act? Are you able to recognize when your habits are out of balance? Temperance is that spiritual virtue that tells you when you are being under the influence of a lack of equilibrium, when something is out of place. Temperance does not mean denying our needs or our emotions, but listening to them and answering, observing them, and observe what is the reason or the motive behind a toxic habit. It invites us to introduce awareness on extremes. Today, we will let temperance guide our path. Thanks to temperance, we can find peace and self care. In our relationship, it is also important. Temperance allows us to interact with others with balance, managing our emotions and avoiding exaggerated reactions or impulsive reactions that can harm in a very definite way our relationships. In this moment, observe through the pulse of your heart. How do you manage your emotions in situations of conflict or stress? Are you able to reflect, or you let yourself be driven by impulses? In relationships, do you give and receive in an equilibrium, or do you allow to be excesses and lacks in that circuit of giving and receiving? Temperance is an invitation to find the middle path. It implies setting clear and healthy limits, not only for ourselves, within ourselves, but towards others. Remember that relationships, the strongest relationships, are built on a basis of mutual respect and moderation. Temperance is a virtue, a spiritual virtue that connects us to divinity, reminding us that we are part of a whole. It invites us to live in harmony with the universal laws. There is a key question in order to go into temperance and at a spiritual level. Your desires and actions, are they aligned with your spiritual purpose? Your desires and your actions, are they aligned with your spiritual purpose? What personal aspects do you have to moderate with temperance in your life. Feel them through the pulse of your heart. Or what relationships? Temperance is a great ally for detachment because it allows us to connect in a deep way with the flow of life, to let go attachments completely and find fulfillment in that liberation. Temperance also reminds us that everything, absolutely everything in excess, deviates us from our true essence. Even that which we consider good, if there's an excess, it will pull us apart from our essence. Temperance connects us to our highest purpose because it does not allow us to get dispersed or distracted because it keeps our attention on what's truly important. If you connect right now with the spiritual virtue of temperance, ask her to tell you what is really important for you at this moment. And you will realize that temperance by itself will begin to take away importance from things that maybe you're giving them importance and they are truly distractors, that they are veils. There are deviations for your attention. Temperance centers your attention on what is truly important. Temperance prevents you from paying attention to what is not important. Temperance also invites us to remain centered in the face of all stimuli. When a person has temperance, she does not allow to be distracted just like that. She finds joy in the simplicity of a primordial focus. Feel what are the areas of your life that need more balance, more moderation. How can you practice temperance in your thoughts, feelings, emotions, actions? Temperance is not a limitation. It is a tool that allows you to observe what's really important and prioritize it. Could be in relationship to yourself or to your relationships and bonds. It shows you what is important so that you can prioritize it. Temperance, I can say, is like an oracle on itself. If at this moment you submerge yourself in temperance, just visualize yourself that you are in the oracle of temperance. Go through the pulse of your heart to that sacred oracle of temperance. Let its frequency, its vibration, so deep, so soft at the same time, so powerful, so calm, inundate you completely. And as you feel that deep equilibrium established from your center, and from your center of temperance, observe what does she shows you what is your priority. What's truly important. And feel how shame stabilizes you. And you anchor yourself in that priority, in the priority for your soul, and what's primordial for your relationships. Feel how, as you do this, you detach from dispersions, from distractors, from extremes, from impulsivity. Observe how temperance gives you a space of vision in the long run, in the long term. Allow temperance in this oracle to show you what emotions or what desires are out of balance, what emotions or desires are out of equilibrium with your original purpose, what habits or patterns in your life are out of balance, are not aligned with your original purpose. Even allow it to show you if you tend to find extremes to feel fulfilled, if you tend to look for drama to feel alive. The Oracle of Temperance will show you how to cultivate the simplicity of self control and the awareness. What would happen if you let yourself be driven by impulses, by toxic habits? Allow temperance to show you the version of yourself that will unfold in front of you if there's lack of temperance in your life. Temperance is our protector. What are the spiritual practices that can enhance or strengthen the spiritual virtue of temperance? Temperance also strengthens self confidence when you are able to enjoy simplicity, the simplicity of your soul, of your purpose. You do not need anything else. I would like you to observe from temperance those parts of yourself that are looking outside what is inside. I find equilibrium within. Temperance guides my thoughts, emotions, and actions. I stop looking outside. Observe all the parts of yourself, of your life, that are out of balance, that are completely out of balance. It could be anything. It could be a habit that you feel it's out of balance, an emotion, a situation, a relationship, your work world. Just visualize it as a cloud in front of you and feel how the light of temperance begins to wrap that cloud softly in the self-control that comes from self-love, self-compassion. See how it brings clarity, brings calm. And as you go deep, allowing temperance to show you what is the true origin of this lack of equilibrium. What is beyond what's visible? Start visualizing how that part of yourself aligns with the serenity and the equilibrium that temperance brings. And observe how that part of lack of equilibrium has no power over you. When you are in temperance, you are completely untouchable. Temperance allows us to navigate in time with completely balanced vision. When you are in temperance, you can visit any part of your past and bless it with temperance. I invite you that through the pulse of your heart, go and visit a place, an experience in your past. Go and visit from temperance. You will see that you become awareness itself, observing. You can also visit the present from temperance. In the same way, you will realize that you are in an observer that is infinite. Temperance gifts you an unlimited observer from equanimity. In the same way, from temperance, you can visit the future, any point in the future. And once again, you will realize that this equanimous observer is there without limits. Nothing upsets it. It doesn't matter the time nor the circumstances. Temperance is peace. Observe the universe from temperance. Observe the celestial bodies in their spins, in their cosmic spins from temperance. Observe how ants walk underneath the earth. Observe humanity. When there's temperance, we can observe without pain, without judgment, without suffering. And when there's temperance, we can decide from our connection to infinity, to the universal purpose. We can decide without emotions, without reactions, without extremes. It is a great state of solidity, temperance. We choose today the path of temperance, especially in those parts of ourselves that are distracted from the center towards the extremes, from fear of avoiding simplicity. Or it could be from pressure from our surroundings or the system. Through the pulse of your heart, there will appear before you a great spiritual master to give you advice on temperance as a spiritual virtue. This master not only gives you advice, but also a symbol, a gift that represents temperance as a spiritual virtue for you. Remember that temperance makes you see what is truly important so that you can prioritize it without falling into impulsivity. So put the message and the symbol that the master gives you in your heart. Today, the master, the spiritual master that comes to share with us a message on temperance is Eti. Let's connect with Eti from our hearts to hers, a young writer from the Netherlands. She is an example of how temperance can convert into a spiritual virtue that is transformative in the biggest adversity, in the time that was signed by the Holocaust horrors. She was able to confront suffering with equilibrium and love. Hetty was born in 1914 in the Netherlands and came from a Jewish family. During the Nazi occupation, she began to write her journals of daily feelings and also her spiritual awakening. As persecution and limitations were intensified, she decided not to run away or let herself to be consumed by hatred or desperation. She maintained her spirit in peace, helping others to find spiritual and she was finally transported to Auschwitz where she died in 1943. Her journals, her diaries, she kept inspiring people for generations. Temperance, understood as moderation in your actions and self-control in the most difficult moments in your life, is a basic point in her life. Through her writings, you can see how she cultivated temperance. Betty confronted hate and violence with a special calm. She was aware of suffering around her, but she did not let those control her spirit. In one of her writings, she wrote, I cannot do anything for the external situations, but I can transform my inner being. Instead of resisting to pain and injustices, she adopted a, a acceptance attitude as a way of transcending suffering, and she could find beauty and meaning even in the darkest hours, even in front of hatred that she experienced. She did not allow that to destroy her humanity. We must maintain ourselves open to life, even when everything seems to conspire against us. Temperance in the life of Eddie Ilesom was not only an ethical tool, but also a spiritual tool to maintain her own peace and her connection to divinity. She shows us that even in the hardest circumstances, we can choose how to respond. Temperance does not mean denying suffering, but confronting it with serenity, with an open heart towards love. Her legacy invites us to reflect. How do we react to our own adversities? Can we find calm and purpose in the middle of chaos? Her life reminds us that the true strength is not resistance, physical resistance, but the ability to maintain our spirit high over everything without mattering our circumstances, our external circumstances. So let's take Eddie's legacy as like as other human beings that have been was able to transcend. So each time that a human being is able to go a step further, it is always for the benefit of all sentient beings. May that energetic legacy that Eddie left help us to cultivate temperance. Let's thank her from our hearts to her soul for the great work that she did. And let's dedicate the merits of our practice today to all sentient beings, that the world today be filled with temperance, that the spiritual virtue of temperance touches all hearts and center them again. So we take a deep breath and let's open our eyes. Very well. Thank you very much as always. It's always a pleasure to share with you daily. And thank you for the accompaniment, indirect, and the ones that will be watching the broadcast later. We will go on then tomorrow. So have a wonderful day. Thank you all.